The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber had never felt so silent. High Admiral Zixtal's primary sensory appendages twitched nervously as he read the application before him for the fourth time. The document was unusual. Most species submitted their planet killer testing applications through the standard quantum encrypted channels, with appropriate gravitational calculations and energy dispersion projections attached in the prescribed 47 dimensions. This application had arrived via what humans called email. Distinguished council members, Dr. Reena Patel began, standing before them in what appeared to be completely non-ceremonial attire, a simple laboratory coat and practical boots. Thank you for considering Earth's application for testing our planetary disruption device. The Council's Chief Security Officer, Valon, leaned forward, all six eyes narrowing. Dr. Patel, you understand that these proceedings typically require at least a century of preparation, yet your species achieved FTL travel merely 15 years ago. Oh, we're aware, Reena smiled, pulling out what appeared to be an ancient data tablet. The council members were shocked to realize it was something called an iPad. But we figured, why wait? Our device is ready now. High Admiral Zixtal's secondary brain began throbbing. Dr. Patel, your application mentions that your device runs on. Could you please confirm this? Vibes. Quantum vibrational resonance, Reena corrected cheerfully. But yes, essentially vibes. We found that if you get the particles in a good mood, they're much more cooperative about the whole atomic dissolution thing. The chamber erupted in translator glitches. Getting particles in a good mood wasn't just unscientific. It was practically heretical to the fundamental laws of physics. Perhaps, suggested council member Anthrax, their crystalline form shimming with barely contained frustration. You could explain the basic principles of your device. Of course. Reena brightened, pulling something from her lab coat pocket. The council's security systems immediately went into high alert, only to detect nothing. No energy signatures, no quantum fluctuations, not even basic radiation. This is it? Valon asked incredulously, staring at what appeared to be a small silver cube with happy face stickers on its sides. We call it the party popper, Reena explained, setting it carefully on the presentation pedestal. Because, it makes planets go pop. The council's chief physicist, Dr. Ivorix, who had until now remained silent, finally spoke. Dr. Patel, the energy requirements alone for planetary disruption would require. Oh, we don't use energy, Reena interrupted. Well, not in the traditional sense. We just convinced spacetime that it would be more fun if the planet wasn't there anymore. The chamber fell silent again. 7 different species simultaneously developed new stress-related health conditions. You convinced spacetime? High Admiral Zixtal managed to ask. Mum, Reena nodded, tapping at her iPad. Turns out the universe has a sense of humor. Who knew, right? We discovered it accidentally during a graduate student's pizza-fueled all-nighter. She was trying to solve an unrelated problem about quantum entanglement and wrote out some equations on a napkin. The napkin got stuck in a particle accelerator, and well, long story short, we had to rebuild that wing of the physics building. Dr. Ivorix's tentacles had gone completely pale. You're saying you discovered this by accident? Most of our best stuff happens that way, Reena shrugged. Something about human creativity working better when we're not really trying. We call it the hold my beer effect. The council members exchanged glances. According to all known laws of physics, the device on the pedestal shouldn't work. It couldn't work. Yet their most advanced scanning systems were showing something that made the scanners display emoji instead of readings. Dr. Patel, High Admiral Zixtal said carefully, you understand that if we approve this test, it will need to be conducted under the strictest safety protocols. Our standard testing procedure requires 17 layers of quantum shielding, temporal stabilizers, and, oh, we won't need any of that, Reena waved dismissively. The party popper has its own safety protocols. It won't work unless everyone within 100 light years is having a good time. The council's administrative director fainted, creating a small quantum singularity as they hit the floor, a common stress response for their species. Perhaps, Valon suggested weakly, we should schedule the demonstration for next century. After proper review actually, Raina checked her iPad. We were hoping to do it tomorrow. I've got a wedding to attend this weekend, and the lab needs the party popper back by Tuesday for the office party. We're planning to use it as a conversation starter. As the council chamber descended into chaos, High Admiral Zixtal couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy was about to change forever. And somehow the most terrifying part wasn't the planet-killing device decorated with happy face stickers. It was the casual way Dr. Patel was now using the party popper as a paperweight for her notes. The High Admiral made a mental note. Humans didn't just break the laws of physics. They made physics question its life choices. The testing facility orbiting the uninhabited gas giant HO 3947 bits was the most secure installation in known space. Its quantum-reinforced observation deck could withstand supernovas, temporal paradoxes, and even the occasional bureaucratic meltdown. Today, however, the facility's staff wasn't sure any amount of shielding would be enough. Dr. Patel, Senior Safety Officer Clarax began, their exoskeleton clicking nervously. You can't just play music during a planet killer test. Raina looked up from her tablet where she was scrolling through what appeared to be a playlist. Of course we can. The party popper works better with a good bass line. We're thinking either disco or EDM. The particles seemed to prefer dancing music. The facility's AI had already attempted to self-terminate 3 times since the humans arrived, claiming it couldn't compute the level of casual disregard for fundamental universal constants. But the safety protocols, Clarax tried again, are totally covered, Raina assured them, pulling a bag of something called chips from her lab coat. Want some? The party popper gets shy if people are too tense. From their position at the main control panel, Chief Engineer Vexthor watched in horror as the rest of the human team began setting up what they called a viewing party. Dr. Emmett Rahman was arranging snacks, Dr. Isabella Martinez was adjusting holographic party lights, and Dr. Marcus Wong was programming the facility's environmental controls to create what he called the perfect party atmosphere. The device requires this celebration, Vexthor asked weakly. Oh no, Raina replied, munching on chips. We just figured, if you're going to delete a planet from existence, might as well make it fun, right? The observation deck's doors slid open, admitting High Admiral Zixtal and the rest of the Galactic Council observation team. They froze, sensory organs twitching at the sight of the disco ball now spinning above the quantum monitoring stations. What is the meaning of this? Council member Nithrax demanded. Welcome to the party, Dr. Martinez called out cheerfully. We've got snacks, music, and in about 20 minutes, we'll have one less gas giant in the universe. Help yourselves to the guacamole. Amit makes it fresh. High Admiral Zixtal's secondary brain was now throbbing in 3 different temporal dimensions. Dr. Patel, this is a highly sensitive scientific demonstration, not a social gathering. Why not both? Raina shrugged, tapping her tablet. The party popper, still decorated with its happy face stickers, floated serenely in the testing chamber beyond the observation windows. Okay, everyone. T-5 minutes. Marcus, how's our VI check? Particles are showing positive resonance, Dr. Wong reported, looking at what appeared to be a standard medical heart monitor with fairy lights glued to it. They're definitely feeling the groove. The council's chief physicist, Dr. Ivorix, slithered forward, tentacles wrapped around various scanning devices. These readings are impossible. Your device appears to be humming. It's beatboxing, actually, Dr. Rahman corrected, distributing cups of something fluorescent and fizzy. The quantum harmonics work better if they've got rhythm. Here, try some of our special punch. It's synchronized with the party popper's frequency. Before anyone could stop them, the human team started a countdown, complete with party horns. The party popper spun lazily in space, its happy face stickers somehow visible from every angle simultaneously, a feat that made 3 different physics textbooks spontaneously combust back on the council homeworld. 30 seconds. Rena announced, "Everyone grab your 3D glasses. Why do we need 3D glasses for a planet-killing demonstration?" Valon asked, even as they found themselves accepting a pair. "We don't," Dr. Martinez grinned. "They just look cool." The gas giant XO 3947 bits filled the observation window, its swirling storms and atmospheric bands creating a majestic view. The party popper, barely visible against the massive planet, began to pulse with a soft light that somehow managed to be both pink and a color that hadn't been invented yet. 10 seconds. The humans called out in unison. 9. 8. The council members watched in mounting disbelief as the humans turned this moment of immense scientific importance into what appeared to be a New Year's Eve countdown. 3, 2, 1. Party time. Rena pressed a button on her tablet. What happened next defied explanation in any known language. The gas giant didn't explode. It danced. Billions of cubic kilometers of hydrogen and helium began moving in what could only be described as a synchronized cosmic choreography. The planet's bands reformed into spiral patterns. Its storms winked out of existence, one by one like closing eyes, and its entire mass began to compact itself into increasingly improbable shapes. Is that planet doing the Macarena?" Someone whispered in horror. "Oh good, you recognize the dance." Dr. Wong beamed. "We programmed that in as a little tribute to Earth culture." The final act came as the planet's remaining mass twisted itself into an enormous smiley face, complete with a wink, before smoothly popping out of existence with a sound that could only be described as "ta-da." Silence fell over the observation deck, broken only by the sound of Dr. Rahman opening a bag of chips. "Well?" Rena asked brightly. "What did you think? We were going to add fireworks, but Marcus said that might be showing off." High Admiral Zixtal stared at the empty space where a gas giant had been moments before. You made a planet dance before erasing it from existence." "Of course." Dr. Martinez nodded. "It's only polite to let it have one last hurrah." "But the physics, the energy calculations, the quantum matrices." Dr. Iverick's tentacles were tied in knots. "Oh, we didn't bother with any of that," Rena explained, offering around a plate of cookies. "We just asked the universe nicely, and it said sure, why not? Anyone want to see it again? We brought enough snacks for an encore." As multiple council members required immediate medical attention, High Admiral Zixtal made a new note in the official record. Humans didn't just ignore the laws of physics. They invited them to a party and convinced them to break themselves. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was in its 4th consecutive day. Representatives from over 300 species had gathered to discuss what many were calling the party popper incident. The chamber buzzed with a mixture of fear, outrage, and most disturbing of all, curiosity. First Minister Daxilier of the Zentari Collective stood at the podium, their crystalline form vibrating with contained anxiety. "The implications are staggering. If humans can convince fundamental forces of nature to party, what else might they convince them to do?" The chamber's holoprojector displayed footage from the demonstration, showing the gas giant's final dance routine. Several species had already developed new religions based on the recording. "We have received," High Admiral Zixtal announced grimly, 17 separate research funding requests from member worlds asking to study vibes-based physics. The Arxian Science Academy is demanding to know if the universe has other emotional states we could exploit. That's not even the worst part, Valon added, pulling up another report. Human social media has gotten hold of the story. They're posting what they call memes about it. Look at this one. It shows the party popper with the caption, "Planet goes brr." We don't even know what brr means. The Council's Cultural Analysis Department had spent 3 days trying to decode human meme culture and had succeeded only in developing several new forms of existential dread. Perhaps, suggested Council member Nithrax, we should focus on containing this information. If word spreads that the universe can be influenced by good vibes. The chamber doors burst open. Dr. Reena Patel strode in, followed by her team, all wearing t-shirts that read physics. More of a suggestion. Really. Sorry we're late. Reena called out cheerfully. Traffic was terrible in the quantum lanes. Someone tried to convince space-time to make their commute shorter. Amateur work, really. Created a temporal traffic jam. The council members stared in horror. You mean? Others are already trying to replicate your methods. Oh, sure. Dr. Raman nodded, pulling out his tablet. It's gone viral back on Earth. #PhysicsParty is trending. People are posting their own experiments. Check this out. Some kids in Nebraska convinced gravity to take a lunch break. Don't worry, it came back after they shared their sandwiches with it. You shared food with gravity? First Minister Daxler's crystalline form cracked slightly. Well, yeah, Dr. Martinez shrugged. It's only polite. Universal forces get hungry too, you know. The chamber erupted into chaos. Representatives from 17 different species began demanding immediate research partnerships with Earth. The Quantum Physics Guild announced its dissolution, declaring that if the universe runs on vibes, what's the point? 3 different civilizations upgraded humans from quirky newcomers to existential threat. Order. High Admiral Zixtal called out. Dr. Patel, surely you understand the gravity of this situation. Oh, gravity understands just fine. Reena grinned. We had a long chat with it this morning over coffee. It's actually pretty chill once you get to know it. Dr. Ivorix, who had been quietly having an existential crisis in the corner, finally spoke up. You had coffee with gravity. Well, we had coffee. Gravity preferred tea. Said coffee made it too jittery, which, you know, could be problematic for orbital mechanics. The Council's Emergency Response Protocol, a document spanning 12 dimensions and accounting for everything from supernova to temporal paradoxes, had no procedures for dealing with humans having beverage preferences with fundamental forces. But the implications, a representative from the Science Directorate protested. If the universe is conscious, if physical laws can be negotiated with, oh, that's not even the cool part, Dr. Wong interjected excitedly. Wait until we tell you about our new project. We've been teaching quantum entanglement to dance salsa. The chamber fell silent. Then, slowly, a junior representative from a small outer rim world raised their appendage. Is quantum entanglement a good dancer? Surprisingly good. Dr. Martins beamed. Though it keeps trying to lead with both partners simultaneously. You know how quantum states can be. High Admiral Zixtal watched as the galaxy's most prestigious scientific minds began asking questions about particle physics' preferred dance styles. The Arxian delegation was already drafting a proposal to study the musical preferences of dark matter. Someone suggested organizing a dance party for string theory. Dr. Patel, Zixtal said quietly, did your species just accidentally revolutionize our entire understanding of the universe by treating it like a friend at a party? Accidentally. Reena raised an eyebrow. Admiral, humanity's greatest breakthroughs have always come from asking, wouldn't it be fun if, and then refusing to accept no for an answer. Did you know we originally developed faster than light travel because someone wanted to get to a concert on Alpha Centauri on time? As the chamber descended into a debate about whether black holes preferred classical or jazz music, High Admiral Zixtal made yet another note in the official record. Humans hadn't just changed their understanding of the universe, they had convinced the universe to change its understanding of itself. And somewhere in the quantum fabric of space-time, gravity was enjoying a nice cup of tea, wondering what these delightful humans would think of next. The Galactic Council's emergency negotiation chamber had been specially designed to handle the most delicate diplomatic situations. Its quantum-dampened walls could absorb any amount of heated debate, and its reality-stabilized atmosphere prevented emotional outbursts from accidentally creating temporal anomalies. Today, however, even these precautions seemed insufficient. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. High Admiral Zixtal massaged his temporal lobes. You want to establish a dance academy for fundamental forces. The Universal Party Institute, Dr. Reena Patel corrected, spreading out blueprints that seemed to be drawn on what appeared to be restaurant napkins. UPI for short. We figure if we're going to keep having physics over for social events, we should have a proper venue. The Council's architectural division was having collective nervous breakdowns trying to understand how the blueprints simultaneously existed in 17 dimensions, while also featuring a killer snack bar and quantum karaoke room. Dr. Patel, First Minister Daxlier interjected, their crystalline form clouded with concern. You can't just build a party venue for the fundamental forces of nature. Why not? Dr. Raman asked, scrolling through what appeared to be a playlist titled Strong Nuclear Forces Favorite Beats. They've been really supportive of the idea. Electromagnetic Force already volunteered to handle the lighting. The Council's Risk Assessment Department had officially given up and was sitting in a corner, quietly humming to themselves. But the implications, Valon protested. If every species starts trying to socialize with physics. Oh, that's why we want to make it official, Dr. Martinez explained, pulling up a holographic presentation decorated with emoji. Think of it as a cultural exchange program. We teach you how to vibe with the universe. You teach us your advanced technologies. Everyone wins. The presentation showed various scenes. Aliens and humans together, teaching quantum mechanics to dance, gravity participating in group meditation sessions, and dark matter attending what appeared to be a cooking class. Besides, Dr. Wong added, munching on chips, the forces are getting pretty excited about it. Did you know that entropy has a great sense of humor? It's been helping us plan the grand opening party. Several council members fainted at the notion of entropy, the fundamental force of universal decay, helping to plan a party. This is unprecedented, High Admiral Zixtal stated firmly. We can't just. Actually, Reena interrupted, pulling out her ever-present tablet. We've already started construction. The universe helped us find a nice spot between dimensions. Want to see the progress pics? The holographic display showed a structure that seemed to exist in all places and no place simultaneously. It had a disco ball the size of a small moon, dance floors that defied Euclidean geometry, and what appeared to be a cosmic coffee shop where various fundamental forces could hang out between sessions. Is that strong nuclear force wearing a party hat? Dr. Iverix asked weakly. Oh yeah, it's really getting into the spirit of things, Dr. Raman grinned. Though weak nuclear force is still a bit shy, we're working on its confidence. The council chamber erupted into chaos again. Half the representatives were demanding immediate access to the facility, while the other half were trying to calculate the existential risks of teaching particle physics to breakdance. Order. High Admiral Zixtal called out. Dr. Patel, surely you understand that we need proper protocols, safety measures. Already handled, Reena said cheerfully, producing a stack of papers covered in glitter. We had our legal team work out all the details. Though, full disclosure, we had to explain the concept of liability insurance to quantum uncertainty. It had some questions about probability coverage. First Minister Daxlier's crystalline form vibrated in disbelief. You got quantum uncertainty to sign a legal document. Well, it both did and didn't sign it. You know how it is. Dr. Martinez shrugged. But we threw in a clause about free snacks, and it came around. The Council's legal department, already struggling with the implications of fundamental forces signing contracts, collectively decided to take a long vacation. Look, Reena said, her tone becoming serious for the first time. We understand your concerns, but think about it. We've spent millennia trying to understand the universe by treating it like a set of cold, impersonal rules. Maybe it's time we tried treating it like a friend instead. A young representative from a newly spacefaring race raised their appendage. Will there be dancing lessons? Our species has always wanted to learn to tango, but we have 7 legs and poor balance. Of course. Dr. Wong brightened. Actually, gravity already volunteered to help with balance issues. It's really getting into this whole teaching thing. High Admiral Zixtal looked around the chamber, watching as ancient and dignified civilizations began excitedly discussing dance styles with fundamental forces. The Arxian delegation was already planning the quantum physics poetry slam. Someone suggested starting a band with dark energy. Dr. Patel, Zixtal said quietly, your species has completely upended our understanding of reality in less than a week. What's your secret? Rena smiled, pulling out a fresh bag of chips. Simple, Admiral. While everyone else was trying to master the universe, we invited it to hang out. Turns out, reality is pretty cool once you get to know it. As the chamber descended into planning committees for the Universal Party Institute's grand opening, High Admiral Zixtal made one final note in the official record. Humans hadn't just revolutionized physics, they had turned the entire cosmos into the universe's biggest block party. And somewhere in the quantum foam, the fundamental forces of nature were picking out their outfits for opening night. 6 months after the establishment of the Universal Party Institute, UPI, the galaxy had changed in ways that no predictive algorithm could have anticipated. The massive interdimensional structure had become the most popular destination in known space, though visitors still couldn't quite agree on whether it existed in all dimensions simultaneously or just through really good parties across the multiverse. High Admiral Zixtal stood in the UPI's main observation lounge, watching as representatives from thousands of species mingled with fundamental forces of nature. The scene before him would have been considered impossible, or grounds for immediate psychiatric evaluation, just months ago. Fascinating, isn't it? Dr. Rena Patel appeared beside him, holding what appeared to be a cocktail that existed in 5 quantum states simultaneously. Strong nuclear force is teaching the Arxians about fusion dance. They're making remarkable progress, though we did have to rebuild the dance floor after last week's lesson. In the center of the main hall, Gravity was leading a meditation session for a group of newly spacefaring species, helping them understand orbital mechanics through interpretive dance. Dark matter, once the most mysterious force in the universe, was running a popular cooking show called Invisible but Delicious. Dr. Patel, Zixtal began, watching as Entropy taught a group of young scientists about thermodynamics through a game that looked suspiciously like musical chairs. Your species has completely transformed our understanding of everything. How do you feel about that? Oh, we're just getting started. Rena grinned, pulling out her tablet, now decorated with stickers from various universal forces. Wait until you see what we're planning for next month. We're organizing the first ever cosmic concert series. Electromagnetic force is surprisingly good with a synthesizer. The news feeds across the galaxy were filled with stories that would have been unthinkable before. Breaking. Quantum entanglement wins Galactic dance competition. Dark energy starts book club. Currently reading romance novels. String theory releases debut album. But the implications for science. Zixtal gestured at a nearby laboratory where scientists were collaborating with quantum mechanics to develop new technologies. The breakthrough rate had increased by 12,000% since they started explaining their research goals through interpretive dance. That's the beauty of it. Dr. Rahman joined them, carrying what appeared to be a traditional Earth board game. We're teaching game night to probability fields later. Turns out they're incredibly competitive at Monopoly. The old way of doing science was all about control and dominance, Dr. Martinez added, adjusting a holographic display showing the upcoming schedule of events. We just changed the approach. Instead of trying to force the universe to give up its secrets, we invited it to share them over coffee. The display showed an impressive lineup: speed dating with time dilation, quantum karaoke nights, baking with black holes, and introductory salsa dancing for parallel dimensions. The most remarkable thing, Dr. Wong observed, monitoring a panel of readings that somehow combined advanced physics with party planning metrics, is how eager the universe was to connect. It was just waiting for someone to ask nicely. In one corner, a group of theoretical physicists was engaged in an intense discussion with uncertainty principle about probability distributions, conducted entirely through charades. Their breakthrough rate had never been higher. "You know what the real secret was?" Rena asked, watching as a young student explained their research to quantum tunneling through an elaborate hand-clapping game. "We stopped treating the universe like a problem to solve and started treating it like a friend to understand." The UPI had become more than just a facility. It had become a symbol of a new age in galactic civilization. Species that once competed now collaborated, sharing discoveries made through this new approach to science. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting eons for someone to simply ask it to dance. "Dr. Patel," Zixtel said, watching as gravity helped a clumsy young physicist perfect their moonwalk. "What's next for humanity? What other impossible things will you make possible?" Rena smiled, pulling out what appeared to be party invitations written on fragments of space-time. "Well, we've been talking to infinity about hosting a block party. All dimensions invited, of course. And between you and me," she lowered her voice conspiratorially, "I think reality itself might be ready to try karaoke." As if on cue, the lights dimmed, and a familiar tune began playing across all known dimensions of space-time. The fundamental forces of the universe, once thought to be immutable and impersonal, gathered around a karaoke machine that existed in all possible quantum states simultaneously. High Admiral Zixtal made one final entry in the official record, even as he found himself being pulled onto a dance floor that defied several laws of physics. Humanity hadn't just changed their understanding of the universe. They had convinced the universe itself to join the party. And somewhere, in the vast cosmic dance of existence, the party popper sat in a display case, its happy face stickers somehow visible from every angle and every dimension. A reminder that sometimes the best way to understand the universe was to simply ask it to hang out. The music played on, echoing across the cosmos, as species from across the galaxy learned that the greatest scientific breakthrough of all time wasn't a formula or a theory. It was a simple invitation to dance.